Extreme Collectibles here with an alien. So recently there's been all these polls on who's the most iconic villain of all time. I vote Darth Vader, but no one ever considers Alien Queen. She's a badass villain if you ask me. And what I'm really excited about this piece is it's from Sideshow and it captures Sideshow in one piece. What I mean by that is Sideshow has so many statues they just knock out of the park, and then it has so many statues that are a failure, and this encompasses both. So before we get started, please hit subscribe, please hit that bell, and let's get rolling. Extreme Collectibles here. I still don't know why my hands are like this, but I am here with Sideshow's Alien Queen maquette. So a maquette is a predetermined scale, pretty much whatever they want in their head. It's also perhaps maybe a way to make the price tag bigger, which they did on this. 1,250 pieces, and they're selling them at $1,100 each. My guess is they're going to be around for quite a while, like the Sideshow King is, or the Sideshow King Alien. So that's the counterpart of this. Which actually, you know what, let's just throw a picture up there right now, both of them together. You see them both right here. This is how I'm going to display them. I'm going to move them to a different space, but this is with the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Predator vs. Alien. And it scales pretty well with those, so even though the maquette doesn't have a predetermined size, I'd say this is about 1/6 or so, which makes sense, maybe 1/7 with the aliens. They're quite a bit smaller than the Queen, but and actually, let's get dimensions on it right now. For specific dimensions, always go to Sideshow's website because I am eyeballing it. 23 wide, 18.5 tall, and depth you're probably looking at about 13. So I purchased this because I have the Sideshow King, obviously, which go ahead and check out the review I have on that. I have a few other alien pieces. I have the HCG loader. I have a Prime 1 Scorpion alien coming, and I have XM's 1/3 alien. And I absolutely love Aliens. The movie, my favorite of all the installments is the second version where she first makes her debut. And one of the cool things about that movie, there's so many cool one-liners. Obviously, the most iconic one is when Sigourney Weaver comes out and says, "Get away from her, you bitch." But so many other cool one-liners. So right now, I want everyone to comment what their favorite one-liner from the Alien installment movies are. Mine are when Bishop comes in Aliens, and he tells them, "I've got some bad news." He's just talking about the planet going to explode, or the reactor. And Hudson goes, "Well, that's a switch." So I always use that line when someone tells me I've got some bad news. That's a switch. But back to the piece. So they made this to counterpart with their Alien King. It was really easy to put together. So just like the Alien King, she is permanently affixed to the base. So she comes, and I'm surprised nothing on that part of it was broken. But very easy to put together. The tail is a separate piece that you really have to wiggle to get it in there. It's pretty tight. That's what she said. And then the crown and head are one piece, which I did have a broken piece right here. So I'll get a hold of Sideshow tomorrow, see what they're going to do. Thankfully, it's just this crown, so hopefully there's just an easy replacement. But with all these spikes on the back, I'm surprised none of those were damaged. And I even re-looked. It says it's 100% polystone. Bullshit. I'm sorry. This is not 100% polystone. I mean, look how flexible the tail is. These pieces right here. This. Some of the base. The base is. The base definitely is, but the piece, it is not 100% polystone, just like the Alien King, which really pisses me off with the $1,100 price tag. And just, I am airing this today, so people are starting to get the Sideshow Doomsday maquette. It's made out of rubber. Part of it's are made out of rubber, which I haven't seen in real life, but come on, for a $1,400 statue, ridiculous. And the shipping prices are still outrageous, so they're still padding the shipping. They are. Don't tell me shipping rates are going up, because Prime One is sending me stuff via UPS for 39 bucks that Sideshow is charging 200, and Prime One sends it overseas. Enough bashing on Sideshow, because there are some really good parts of this piece, so let's dive into that. So first, the concept and design. I really love the fact they captured the lair of the Queen. You know, here she is. It's kind of that first time Ripley sees her when she's looking for Newt, and she walks in, and it's very spaceship-like on the bottom, which we're going to talk more about with the grates, and then you have the eggs and the secretion that they've created a nest out of, and they only have 2 minions on this, where they have 7 or 8 on the king one, and she's standing over them and she's protecting them. She's ready to fight. So it's a really cool representation of the Queen. One thing that I don't like is it's pretty obvious if anybody gets this and they have the king, then they're going to display them together. They're completely different bases, which I understand why they're completely different, but it would have been really cool if they would have meshed a little bit better together. So it is what it is. But I really like the concept, I like the design, and I like the sculpt on most of this too, which we're, you know what, let's just dive right into the paint and the sculpt. This is where it's complete hit and miss. Some of it looks phenomenal, like they just, okay, that looks good, just do it. And some of them, they spend a lot of time on the detail. And because there's so many moving pieces to this, I might jump all over, but bear with me. So let's start with the outer part of the base here. This is kind of reminiscent of the power loader. It has the same colors of it. Really reminds me of a dock area. So this may not be, you know, on the planet LV421, I think it is 521. Someone comment on that. And I like the wear, the tarnish, really cool. You can see kind of some nuts and bolts, and there's some broken areas. I think they did a fantastic job on the outer part of this base. It looks really good. And then the bottom part of the base, first of all, the grate I think looks fantastic. I like the wear, I like the color on it. There's some rod beams going on the inside of it. Really good job on that. Then moving on to the kind of tentacles coming out of the eggs. This looks like crap. It does not look good. The paint, they should have done some more variations in the paint to make it stand out. The sculpt's just minor okay. I do not like this. And same with the secretion. So first of all, it should be shiny. There's a little bit of shininess on this, but they could have done some clear resin reflective stuff similar to what they did on her crown that you're going to see. And the pipes that it's wrapped around are very bland. They look plasticky. So big miss when they have the technology and the know-how, and they charged enough money to make that look good. The eggs look really good. So here's some shots of the closed ones. I think they look fantastic. The different colors, the sculpt on them. It has those greens, blacks, browns, yellows in there. Really, really cool. And then here's 2 open ones. So this first one here has actually the xenomorph crawling out, or the face, sorry, not the xenomorph, the face hugger crawling out. And it looks okay. Again, I wish they would have made it more liquidy. And the other one shows it already crawling out. I think this one looks a little bit better because it kind of has those folds coming out. I would have preferred 2 like that instead. Then moving on to the minions, the normal aliens here, they look okay. Remember, they're 1/6, 1/7 in that range, so they're a lot harder to sculpt. I think there's a little bit of opportunity. They look like toys. They don't look bad, but they don't look good. They don't look $1,100 good. And very hard to take pictures because my camera was trying to focus on the thousands of different things that are in this statue. And that's another thing. I think an argument can be made. There's too much going on. I don't think so. I like that they captured this different stuff. I think it would have been okay if they removed the warriors here. I think the statue would have been just as good. Also, that's kind of the king thing. He has all the warriors, so they could have just maybe planted a few more eggs, but it is what it is. And then moving on to the queen, she is all over the place. So first of all, a lot of her parts look very plasticky, like her legs here. And I don't know if that's because it's the material. I don't buy that it's polystone. It doesn't feel like polystone. And this paint job, it doesn't look good. It looks much better on the King. And there's a lot more darker colors on the King where they're just using the greens and blacks on here. See that on her legs? Just some missed opportunity. Her tail, up from far away it looks decent. Up close looks very cheap, very plasticky. And again, that paint job is just, it's really lacking. I think a repaint is probably in order for this. Another thing here too, where her hand meets the secretions, it doesn't look good. There's no variance in definition. I think they missed a lot of opportunity on the paint and the sculpt, kind of differentiating it. And speaking of the paint on the hands, here's the best close-up I could get because her fingers are so skinny. Look at the nail color paint. It almost overrides into the fingers. Very sloppy. It's a sad disappointment. Here's some different shots of her body. And it's a little shinier here, similar to the legs, but it's almost because it's a plastic-looking item, not that clear resin type paint or material they could have put on it. And you see a few of the, the spikes on her back right up here. I like that. That's a cool addition. They look the fins and the spikes. I'm not sure what they called. They look really, really good. Then even her neck here, the different bones looks decent. I think they did a good job on that. Her face really reminds me of the Nika. I never know how to say that. However, it's not plastic. So they did a much better job on the crown on her head here. I like the teeth. It would have been cool if they did a little bit of drool. I rhyme all the time. And you can see the inner mouth too. And then moving up her crown, this is what I think most of her body should have looked like. It's a little bit darker. It doesn't look plasticky. Looks like the traditional queen, but fantastic job on the sculpt of this, on the paint. You might see the broken piece I have on the back there that we looked at. So my thoughts overall, I think Sideshow, I think the concept was phenomenal. I think most of the sculpt was really, really good. There were a few areas of opportunity. A lot of stuff they could have made easy fixes on to make this piece phenomenal. And at $1,100, they should have. So this is a moneymaker for them. There's no doubt they use some cheap products and some cheap manufacturing, which is really unfortunate. And I guess I don't know how much the license for Aliens costs, so maybe the license is higher and so they're not making as much money. But it's eerily disappointing. I probably will keep it for now because I have the King and I don't want to get rid of both. But I don't think this is going to be one that'll stay in my collection forever, unfortunately. One really cool thing, though, is my father is a big Aliens fan, so maybe a few years down the road I can pass it on to him. But really appreciate you guys watching. Again, let me know your favorite Alien line and all the installments. Let me know what you think of this piece. Hopefully I gave you some information on whether you were wanting to pull the trigger or not. It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. If it was $700, I think it'd be a totally different story. But $1,100, that's a tough pill. So, a little bit disappointed. Mr. X, checking out. Take care.